Hello and welcome to my second video, Puppetry and Performance. First, I'm going to show you how to make a newspaper puppet. This is Brian. To make a Brian of your own, you're going to need 3 sheets of newspaper and some tape of any kind. Take your first piece of newspaper and lay it out so that it's landscape in front of you. You want to roll it along the long edge. Try to make sure it's nice and even, and at the end give it a good squish so that it doesn't unravel too easily. Make 2 creases in the sausage, a third of the way from either side, and tape the 2 ends together to make the sausage a loop and flatten it down. Create a second sausage in the same way that you made the first one, and make it around the same thickness. At the end of this one, squish it a little bit more than the first. Slide the second sausage in through the loop so that either side has an even length. The newspaper already has a crease, so you don't need to measure it out. Tape around the loop so that the second sausage can't move up and down. And then fold the 2 lengths downwards. These will be the legs of the puppet. A little bit less than halfway down from the hips of the puppet, crease the leg to create a knee joint. Bend it backwards towards the table and add tape to the crease and pinch to make sure that it stays. Next, on the same leg, about 3 cm from the bottom, fold and pinch the paper forward to make an ankle joint. Ensure to tape it again. Give both joints a bit of a test drive before moving on. And then do all of this for the other side. Now you have a torso with legs. Take your final piece of newspaper and try to roll the final sausage slightly tighter if you can. Put it to one side. Take the puppet's torso and loop your finger through the top of it. Create a loop at the top by securely holding the part of the puppet that is the body and turning just the top where the finger is looped through. Secure it with tape. This will be the puppet's head. The arms are just a little more complicated than the legs. Find the halfway mark on the final sausage and place it over the front of the torso. If you're not sure which way is the front, look at the knees and feet to see which way that they're bending. Hold the arm sausage in place and turn the puppet around. Fold the 2 arms across one another diagonally downwards. and tape in place in a crisscross for both arms. A little bit less than halfway from the shoulder of the puppet, pinch and fold to create an elbow. Make sure to bend it forward this time. Secure with tape again. Two or 3 centimeters from the bottom of the roll, pinch and crease to create a hand. Secure it with tape. It's optional to put a shoulder joint in, but you can also pinch and crease the top of the arm where it meets the torso and secure it with tape. And then do all of this for the other side. Make sure to give all of your joints and creases an extra squeeze and wiggle to make sure that the puppet doesn't have an awkward kind of default pose when you're not controlling its limbs. And you're all done. Let's move on to how you give life to this inanimate object. You can do these exercises with a class and have students working in groups of 3. One will control the legs, one will control an arm and the head, and the other will control the other arm and the hips. First, it's helpful to spend some time exploring how the puppet should move. You can use your own body to think about how joints move, so that it's believable and natural. If you bend the knee the wrong way, it's going to look pretty freaky. Next, breath. It's important for an audience to be able to see life. You don't have to make the puppet breathe all the time, but moments of stillness are particularly important. The third key part of articulating a puppet is giving a constant sense of gaze, and it needs to be consistent too. You can't just decide that the eyes are going to sit on a different part of the head from one moment to the next. The group has to think about where the puppet's eyes are and make sure to look before performing an action. To help guide the group, if they're confused about where to place the eyes, you can stick on googly eyes if you want. Finally, it's important to establish a realistic sense of weight. Defying gravity breaks the illusion. It draws attention to the fact that the puppet is being held and controlled. Think about how weight impacts your own movements and actions. You can use a mirror to look and replicate. Bending the knees of the puppet and adding bounce as it walks. Using its hands to help lower itself, all helps. The head is the heaviest part of the body. Where does it need to lean to help you get back up again? What is a puppet? I think most people, when they think of puppets, think of some more well-known examples like Pinocchio, Punch and Judy. And puppetry is a rich art form which spans many cultures, but one thing that they all have in common is bringing an inanimate object to life. One of the most exciting things about puppetry is that you don't need any fancy equipment to make something interesting and playful. Here you can see me working with Tash from Telltale Hearts. She's using a little footstool and 2 painted coconut shells to create a face. Any object can come to life if you add movement, breath, weight and gaze. She also added 2 hair clips to a hat to create a sea creature. Fabric has a lot of freedom in movement, so it's something that you can really play around with if your school has a costume cupboard. Or you can go on a charity shop trip to find the ugliest hat that you can find. For the following exercise, you're going to need a pillowcase, a tea towel, or a similar sized piece of fabric like a t-shirt. Another way to teach the 4 core ingredients to bringing a puppet to life is to do the same exercises with a cloth. Participants can work alone or in pairs. You first want to lay the fabric flat out in front of you and pinch right in the middle, lift it up, and about 2 inches from the top, clasp it in your thumb and 2 fingers to create a head. You can also use an elastic band if you want to hold this in place. Previously, we talked about playing around with how a puppet can move before starting on the other 3 core ingredients. And then we talked about making the puppet breathe. The gaze of the puppet. And creating a sense of weight. There is a lot of freedom in the kind of character that you can create from an object that doesn't already give away a load of detail. Basil Brush will always be Basil Brush because he's one of a kind. Kermit the Frog as well can only ever really be a frog. But a pillowcase can be anything. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please make sure to have a look at your resource for any other helpful links and tips.